Traveling through hyperspace isn't like dust and crops, boy. Here we are, everyone. We are at issue 61. Let's go ahead and take a look. So, last several issues we talked about Umbra, and now we're going to talk about the Umbrian Starfighter. So that's kind of interesting. Galactic time and dates. So that should prove to be interesting as well. And Imperial shipping regulations. Ooh, laws. Let's enjoy that. All right, so let's get into this issue. So in this issue, again, we have a piece of the pie. I don't know how many pieces of pie we were supposed to have had by now, but I'm going to say that we've already got them all. Because we do. All right, so in this issue, we're going to have TF31 and TF32. Yep, okay. We're going to have TP19, and there it is. We're going to have one piece of rib, a bunch of screws. I just grabbed a bunch of screws and threw them in here. Now this packet, I'll show you up here. This packet, it's got some screws in it, plus a couple of these braces. We're supposed to have 2 of the braces, and we do. So it's interesting because 9 says there's supposed to be 26 screws. Well, the picture here, let me show you over here. The picture only shows, you see number 9, only looks like a handful of screws. I think they've got them kind of backwards. I think that 4 is supposed to be 9. And what looks like 26 would be number 7. But regardless, we've got enough screws, I think, for what we're going to need. Let's go ahead and see what we got to do here. So on this one, we are going to be putting together more of the framework. So we've got 2 pieces to add, plus this, plus these, and a bunch of black screws, which we've already got a bunch of black screws in here, and we got more there, plus the 2 bags that we got. So let's get these out real quick. And I don't know what we're going to do with these other than put them in here. And we've got a bunch of these smaller, they look like self-tapping screws. We'll offload the rest of these into the little containers later. We've got our black screws ready to go. We'll set this off to the side. And what we need to do is go get our framework. So I shall go do that in a moment. And or I shall go do that, and we'll come back in a moment and get started. Okay, we're back. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we need to do is put in the plastic piece, which we've already done. And we're going to start by attaching this piece. I think it goes like this. So we're going to set that in there between the turret ring and here. And we're going to screw on these pieces here first. We got a couple screws out here. All right, that's everything for this issue, I believe. Let's just have a look. Yep, so we put on all the parts that we needed for this issue, but since we haven't been going that long, we've been less than 10 minutes, we're going to do a little bit more. So I'm going to shift gears, and because we need to paint more of the color part on the bottom, we're going to go ahead and start masking that and maybe even paint it in this issue. So that way we can kind of move that process along. So with that, I'm going to shift gears, move this stuff around, bring over the other part, and we'll go ahead and start figuring out where we need to mask and get that masked. All right, so I've got a couple of ones that I'm going to paint. The ones I'm going to paint or get masked out. There's a total of, I believe, 3. I think there's going to be 3 that we're going to do right now. So there's one that's going to be right here in this section. Then there's going to be one that is this whole square and this whole section, I believe, all the way up to here. I think, yeah, all the way up to there. And then this little square here. So let's go ahead and get started on that. That should be fun, to say the least. First thing we need to do is we're going to mask off here. I need to get an idea of exactly how far to go. Okay, so there's 2 little indents where the plating goes right here. And I need to go just after that, so it's going to go straight line down, and then it's going to come all the way across to the end here, and then it's going to go up to here, I believe, up to about here, somewhere around there, just after, or just before, so maybe somewhere around this spot here, I think. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So I cut this one in a triangle because I have a very small little section I need to mask off. Let me spin this around here so you can see I'm masking this part right here, and I just want to take this triangle so I can get right up to the edge here and not get in the way of the other line that I put on. So once I have that in place, then I can, once I do all the fine masking, the rough masking will take care of itself. All right, so there's that one. Now we'll work on this one up here. All right. So that is all the rough taping that we need to do. I'll come back and I will do, that's all the fine taping. I'll do all the rough taping and then we'll get this painted. All right, here we are. We're gonna get this thing painted. Let's get started. So I'm just gonna start with kind of a light dry coat along the edges just to help the paint kind of settle in. And some of these edges are going to be hard to get. Here we are. Let's see how we did. Full disclosure, when I was painting this, you probably noticed in the video I dribbled some of the gray paint there. And I had dribbled some there. Luckily it was on tape. But just goes to show if you're not careful, you're going to mess something up. So what I had to do was clean that off and then repaint it. And so that took me a little bit extra time and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I definitely need to try to be more careful when dealing with painting this stuff. So I also had to paint down through here a couple more times just to get down underneath here because this is kind of at an angle. Also on the back side here, and I just kind of made sure that I had a good coverage everywhere. And so I did basically another coat across these three sections, and which isn't out of the question, and not surprising because it's a pretty light gray, so it's really hard to tell exactly how well the coverage is. So like if you notice up here, you can kind of tell that's not perfect coverage. I was perfectly fine with that not being perfect coverage, and honestly, I'm perfectly fine if this wasn't perfect coverage either. Because I don't think that they cared when they painted it, painted the studio model. So, like, I think whatever I do would be good enough, type of thing. So, but I went ahead and gave it another coat. Problem with this tape is it's too good. Get off my fingers. Christmas. You can tell there's a little bit that had bled under here. So we got a little bit of thinner. So we can't clean some of that up. So this was a result from not, when I had to repaint this part and I didn't get it masked very well. It was kind of a rush job to mask it and paint it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not terribly concerned because it's going to get weathered pretty heavily. So I do want to be kind of careful pulling some of this tape off so that way I don't pull some of the other colors off. And it's hard to know for sure what the layers are like. It's these little pieces of tape that are really getting me. Holy cow. Obviously, the big ones are easy to get off your fingers, but these little pieces, they get stuck to you and they just don't want to come off. So the big concern I had here was this is a raised edge. Let me bring you down here nice and close so you can see how this is a raised edge, and that was really hard to mask, and just checking, and it looks like I was able to get it masked pretty well, so I'm pretty happy about that. Sorry. Get the camera back where it needed to be. So I'm kind of considering this phase 2 of painting like these different spots or whatever you want to call these detail spots. This is kind of phase 2 of that process. Phase 1 is obviously these original ones that I did, so I can put all these pieces on. But this would be phase 2, and I don't know how many phases we're going to have, but whenever we have a shorter episode, I will be doing some of this painting, and I have to say, it's looking even better. We're getting more color on it, and a lot of this is going to change up as we start putting some of the do some of the weathering and that kind of stuff. I mean, like this section here, it's got to be blackened. This section's got to be blackened because of the scorch marks and all that kind of stuff. So we'll make all that happen, of course. Now, if you noticed on the images, this here, and this here, these are black, but they're not masked off. So I'm going to be very careful trying to do those because they're pretty small. So, but we'll probably be doing some of these parts up here. There's a gray bit that comes over here. We'll be doing those coming up real soon. There's some pieces that I think are gray along here. So that'll probably be like the next round or something. I'm trying to do where I do kind of the same color each time. But that is everything for this episode and everything for issue 61. So again, these are the parts that we got. I'll probably just do the blackout part of that off camera. And then next time we'll get some more parts of the frame. I'm guessing that's what we'll be working on, some more rib and another piece of plating, and I'll black that out as well off camera. But I want to thank everybody for watching, and may the force be with you always.